Hey, what's up? So I turn 36 this year, and it's kind of interesting because I do feel old a little bit, but I don't actually feel as old as I felt when I turned 30. And and I don't know, maybe it's a different expectation and perspective, but I do think there's some pretty big changes that you go through when you're in your mid 30s than versus when you're mid 20s, right? Obviously, things like your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your parents, even your relationship with yourself, right? You become more mature. The focus on health is a lot different. I think expectations of fun is a lot different as well, and I can kind of explore those later. But I think in this video I want to talk about. I think the biggest thing that changes in your 30s in general, and then in your 20s, is that when you're in your 20s and even teens, you have this expectation on life, right? You're like, I could do anything. I can achieve anything. I could become, the CEO of this company. I can become an actor. I could be a movie star. I could be, NBA player. And you kind of just have these dreams that anything is possible. And then every time you see anyone on TV who are successful, they're older than you, right? And as you get to your 30s, you're starting to see these people that are successful that are younger than you. And you're just like, oh shit, like what did I do? And then you start to realize like these dreams that you had or these goals or whatever, it's not that they're not attainable. It's just that you didn't do it, or it's not worth it, right? So there's a reason why you didn't get it. Is one, you didn't work for it because you're not willing to trade. You're not willing to trade what it takes to get there. Or two is because you did trade for it, and then you realize it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, right? And you realize that, oh, this isn't actually making me happy. And I think in your 30s is like basically figuring that out and then trying to figure out how to be okay with it. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of interesting. Like for example, when I was 23, 24, like maybe my second job out of college, I was working at this company that had like, everyone else in that company was like had an MBA. So everyone was like 7 or 8 or 10 years older than me. And then after a couple of years there, I was able to kind of like negotiate my salary so it matches everyone else. But I had this coworker that I remember he was like maybe 10 years older than me, and we worked the same job, and we probably got paid the same amount. And then in my mind, I was kind of thinking like, oh, I was like, this guy's in my mind. I never acted on it, but just in my mind, I just thought he was kind of a loser because he was 10 years older than me and we're doing the same thing, right? It just never occurred to me that like up to this point in my life, everything just went straight up, right? You go to school, you get in the grade, you get good grades, you make money, you make more money, and everything's just straight up. And it never occurred to me like life goes down as well, right? And I think when you start to get to your 30s, you start realizing life goes down a lot, right? It goes up as well, but it goes down a lot as well. And you don't kind of realize that until you're in your 30s. So I think in your 30s, really what you start to realize is, okay, whatever you wanted in life either is not what you thought it was going to be, or it's not worth whatever you need to get there, right? And that's okay. And the whole point, I think, in your 30s is just realizing that's okay and just kind of figuring out what makes you happy on a regular basis and just doing those things. And I know it's really corny to say, but like they always talk about, oh, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And I think in your 30s is when you start realizing that. And I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't have big goals or big dreams. I'm not trying to say you should stop trying for it, right? All I'm saying is that typically, when you make these big goals or big dreams, you don't really have a good perception of reality yet or how the world works. And maybe everything you're thinking about on this goal or dream was just the upside, but you didn't consider the downside. And once you get older, you start trading for it, you start realizing there's downside, it's not worth it. Or maybe you get there and you realize, oh, I achieved it, but it's not what I expected it to be. So I think typically in your 30s, like the expectation reality, you realize there's a big gap for whatever reason, whether or not you achieve your goals. And I guess I'm saying that in your 30s is just how you figure out how to be okay with it, right? And a lot of that being okay with it comes from within. So hope this video helps. Talk to you next one.